Gary Gregg, your special ops, semi-nomadic botanical mercenary at your service. Right here at the Sacramento Gateway. Why am I here? Well, because of these palm trees. So, what to say? These, my friends, are a really good example of California fan palms. This is the one palm that's native to California. And it gets a nice big fat trunk, gets a big head, and you might be confusing it sometimes with Mexican fan palms, which are actually native down to Mexico. Those bad boys right there. Those trees are going to be skinnier, they're going to grow taller, the trunks will be wavier, meaning they'll when they grow up. And hopefully that didn't make you sick. What else about them? They're greener, the heads are not as big. But one really good thing about those palms is there's a disease called black diamond scale, and they do not get it at all. And strangely, the California fan palm, even though it's so similar, gets it really badly. And that disease is actually native in the habitat of where these trees are from, which is basically the deserts of California. This used to be a palm that was kind of all over California before the last ice age, pushed them all south into these frost-free pockets in the desert where there was moisture. When the Central Valley was tropical, these things rained the whole entire valley a long time ago. But now they just exist down there. They're basically a relict species, meaning like they're, kind of exiled to that one location, so to speak. But this disease I'm talking about, black diamond scale, it's actually not a scale. It is a fungus, and it exhibits itself as little black spots under the fronds. We don't see it here. You know why? Let me tell you why. Because we're in Sacramento. This disease actually exists in its habitat, and but it doesn't really cause a problem there because the disease grows in rapidity, in degree to how cool and humid it is. Of course, out in the desert, it's not either really at all, so it really never grows. And in Sacramento, it's pretty darn hot and not very humid because we're pretty far from the ocean. Look at that big, beautiful yellow Spirit Airlines. And but when you take this palm and you get closer and closer and closer to the opening of the bay in San Francisco, you'll notice more and more and more they look bad. And if you look closely, you'll see the black spots on the bottom. And if you go out to like Golden Gate Park, and if you're lucky to find one alive, you'll see it covered in black spots and dying probably. That's because the palm grows really slow and the disease grows really quickly. I can't stand those things. But I could talk over them. Disease grows quickly in the fog and cold and humidity, and the trees grow very slowly. So disease takes over. The trees, they grow fast enough where they probably kick the disease off. And sometimes you'll see it in the lower fronds in Sacramento a little bit. But like I said, the closer to the bay you get, the more you'll see it. Here they've actually trimmed off the lower fronds, so if they were here, we wouldn't know because they're gone. But if you're Sacramento or anywhere inland like that, where it's really hot and dry, you're good to go. And you can use these trees and they look fantastic. But if you're anywhere in the Bay Area, you should not use these trees. Even places like Walnut Creek, Ruth Bancroft Garden, they had trees die of this. And certainly Berkeley, San Francisco, Albany, Tiburon, you should never use it there. Now, interestingly, there is a hybrid. Can anyone tell me which one of these trees is the hybrid that the people who planted these trees were not smart enough to realize that the architect wanted everything to look the same. Can anybody tell me which tree doesn't look the same? Right, that one right there. That's a hybrid. Beautiful tree. It's half Mexican fan palm, half California fan palm. You can see it's got a fat trunk, but not as fat as the California fan palm. It's got a big head, but not as big as the California fan palm. It's got a really green head, much greener than the California fan palm. The cool thing about that plant, if you get them all in, consistency, they all look the same, and this project would have looked better. If you get them all the same, then that's a good one to use along the bay because it has just enough Washingtonia robusta Mexican fan palm, genetic DNA in it to ward off the disease, but you still get the benefit of a bigger head and a straighter, bigger trunk than a typical Mexican fan palm. So it's a really nice combination. These trees can exist in proportion of 0 to 100% of one or the other, or a mixture. That one right there looks like half and half, just about exactly. And but you can get these things, and they can be 10% Robusta and 90% filifera, and then the more Robusta in them, the less they'll have the black diamond scale. So the other thing you want to do, if you hire us to get these trees, guess what's not going to happen when I bring the trees in? They're not going to be all winky, wanky, winky like this one here. Look how curvy that is. That was not, the architect, I'm sure, didn't want that. If we did the job, two things would have happened. We wouldn't have that tree, we wouldn't have that tree. If you want wanky, we get wanky for you. But I would presume in this location, you don't want wanky, you want it straight. And you also don't want a mixture of different trees. You want them all the same. So anyway, if you really want it to go down right, there's only one place to call, and that is, let me give you just a little hint. That place right there. All right, see ya.